actually is an upshot to PTSD. It makes you confront either it's going to roll over you like a steamroller, or you're going to stand up to it. And to stand up to it, I didn't know this either, but now you do. To stand up to it, you have to deal with the things you've been hiding from, because that's exactly where. So we all compartmentalize stuff, and when you put it into the don't think about it bucket, everything goes in there. All the stuff from all the nasty stuff does. Whether it's war or whether it's this or that or the other, that's where you put it. So you end up cramming all your war stuff in right on top of all this other garbage. But to get rid of that, to clear it all out, you got to deal with all of it. So actually, I'll be honest, like right now I'm not saying I'm on the other side of PTSD. It has a lingering kind of thing going on, but I know how to deal with it now because I know what I'm up against. And the amazing thing is that in dealing with all of these things that I had been putting off and sweeping under the rug for so long before, I actually have to say that I'm actually a happier person now, even after all that, than I was then, because I was still hauling all this baggage around. So if you approach it right, PTSD can actually, like, the resolution of that can be tremendous, have a tremendous impact on your life. You can actually need to start building that again. You need to start injecting your future with hope, not just like planning on what you're going to do next year, next month, or whatever, but like have some expectations of yourself. Make some and I'm not saying set your goals, your 5-year goal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about expect something of yourself that other people will roll their eyes at. Do that. If other people are like shaking their head and rolling your eyes because you're saying, no, now I'm going to do this, or now I'm going to be this, you're on the right track. Okay. Now it's not always fun. People, like, for one, they'll they think you're a little nuts if you do that. But coming out the other side of that and showing, hey, I still got this. That's the kind of thing that drags you out of PTSD. Right? It's being valued again and not being needed again. And I don't want to say that in the way that you think. So when you're part of a team, everyone on that team needs you to be on your game 100%. Because if you aren't, you're screwing over everyone in the whole team. That need for you to have your shit together, pardon my French, is critical. That's one of the things you go through when you come back to the States. No one really needs you to do anything but show up on time for work. And even then, it's not that big of a deal. Like, when you expect someone to be, a total bum and loser, they might very well live up to that. When you expect them to be Johnny on the spot, and they know that, they'll do everything in their power to prove you right about them. And so when you come back and no one is expecting great things of you, it's kind of an intangible thing that's missing in your life, but it's very real and it's very true. So the only person that can hold you to that standard now is you. So if you aren't hoping again, if you aren't dreaming, if you aren't like saying, damn it, I'm going to do this, and everyone's laughing at me and thinking, what's going on here? This guy's lost it. Like I said, you're on the right track. You're doing something right. And you know what? If you don't make it there, who cares? Because if you're shooting for the stars and you only get through the atmosphere, well, guess what? You're still ahead of everyone else. And the things that you fail at, you ask any entrepreneur, the things that you fail at will inform you and teach you as to what you finally end up succeeding in. I wrote something in the book about this. You will have enough strength to get to the top of the mountain in the moment that you arrive there. In other words, when you're standing at the bottom of this mountain and you're looking up at it, you think, I don't have enough strength to get up to the top of this thing. And guess what? You're right. You don't. But here's the secret. The only way to build enough strength in you to climb up a mountain is by climbing mountains. And when you climb mountains, you get strong enough to climb mountains. And as you climb up the side of the mountain, you'll get strong enough to climb up the rest of it. And at the moment that you set your foot on the top, you will have the strength to set your foot on the top. And that's how we tend to think, I can just snap out of it. I can just, like, one day I'll just wake up and realize okay, all this stuff, I have it under control now. I just need more self-discipline or this, that. No, you need to like, you need to set the stage for yourself to succeed. For instance, I was drinking a lot. A lot of us do. And I was thinking, man, I really need to, stop drinking. Of course, I knew I did, but I didn't wanna. And I wasn't just gonna all of a sudden one day snap out of it. I tried to snap out of it. I tried all over and over again to snap out of it. Finally, after a while, I just gave up. I was like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna drink heavily for the rest of my life. And it wasn't like necessarily binge drinking, but it was just like a constant thing. I always had a drink in my hand. And then one day I decided, you know what? I looked in the mirror and I thought, I'm not adhering to my own standards here physically. So I started going to the gym again. And going to the gym made me not want to drink because you can't just not do, well, you can just stop doing something. It's much easier to stop doing something if you start doing something different and it replaces that. It takes the place of it. So that's a good example of you have to like coerce yourself into stuff. Like you have to replace the bad habits with something else. And when you start kind of moving down that road, you start understanding like what is best for you as far as your environment, what environment facilitates your success the most. And then you start learning to create that for yourself. And what I said earlier is part of it. You are in charge of that. You have to hold yourself to the standard that your brothers and sisters held you to when you were in the military. Like you can't screw this up. Everyone's counting on you. Like you understand the importance of your role in your mission. Yeah, if you screw up, someone else could die. Okay, so now the person holding you to that standard is yourself, and it's easy. You know how to do it. You just didn't know that was missing, and that's PTSD. It's not just a symptom or a syndrome or whatever. It's you now. You're a different person. Guess what? You went off to a desert land and you fought in a war and you felt and saw and did things far beyond the spectrum of normal human emotional capacity, or I won't say capacity, but the normal human experience. And you come back and you expect everything to be just the same. No, you have lived much higher and lower than most other people. And it's like a wave, right? The higher you go, the lower you can go, and the lower you go, the higher you can go. The war is just as fun as it is horrible, and it's horrible. So I hate to say, but parts of it, yes, parts of it are very fun. So that's what I'm talking about. It's that whole spectrum. It's not just up or not just down. So when you start to understand that, and when you get back and things are going to crap, it's still a wave. It's people, you start plummeting earthward, or into the pit, if you want to call it that. And I've been there. You think this is never going to end. It can always get worse, and that's true. It can. And you think, and it always will for me. And so, and I've called the hotline before. You decide, I'm going to get off of this train because all it's doing is going down. Well, what you're doing is you're getting off at the bottom right before it starts going back up. Because if you can learn how to climb out of the pit, climbing up the mountains, that's a snap, bro. That's easy. The list is very, very long right now of veterans who have succeeded and made a name for themselves in art, in business, and all kinds of in politics. We're seeing like Iraq and Afghanistan veterans already been several years, and they're already in the Senate and Congress and stuff like that. But I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that, because once we kind of get used to this, okay, the race car up here that we were driving, it changed when we went to war. It got a lot more horsepower, actually. But if you don't know how to drive that thing, you're going to crash it. Okay. So after a while, though, I think we're starting to figure it out. And when you start figuring out and you start putting it together, you realize that increase in the spectrum of human experience that you've been through, once you start learning how to ride that thing, like how to drive it, it'll blow your mind at what you can accomplish. That's why I'm saying they better be rolling their eyes at you or you're not doing it right. It's people, even we veterans ourselves, we tend to think, everyone's complaining. I can't drive my go-kart, and I'm a terrible go-kart driver. All the other people, they can drive their go-kart. They go to work every day and they come back and their go-kart's just fine. But I can't do it. I can't do this civilian life thing. And it's not because you're a bad go-kart driver. It's because you're a Formula One race car driver, and now you have to drive a go-kart, and you don't understand that. So once all that comes back to you, and you start applying all that you learned on the Formula One circuit into your go-kart, guess what? You're gonna be pretty good at driving a go-kart, I think. All right, so we and I myself tend to mope around about the whole PTSD thing, and it is not fun. This is an ugly scourge upon us. But guess what? If you never go through anything difficult, I doubt very much you are going to be much of a person. And the upshot too is you can make it through that. And when you make it through that, you're going to come out. You're not going to come out where you at the same place that you went into the military, went in before you experienced some serious stress. You're going to be like levels up. So take a little heart in that and start hoping for your future, man. Like dump your do stuff that if you fail, you'll look like a total idiot. Do it. That's the kind of stuff that you need to do with your life. And this is, so I'll finish up here, but this is what I wrote on the last page of my book. And I think it explains itself. And you'll start to see this happening in your life. The dark is finally fading into gray. It seems the light and truth are hating it away. And things are stark and clean and marked with things I haven't seen in years, since last I saw the day. Like hope and open air and light, besides the lightning strikes. Some things under the horizon rising slight, too slow to notice. But I know that I remember how to see. It's not just hope. I know what light is. With last drop of blood and strength and life that's left in me, the bars of darkness slowly start to bend. It seems I may have somehow been redeemed. The night just might be finally coming to an end. Don't worry. The light and truth are hating it away. Focus on that. Focus on those weapons that you have against this stuff. And you can do it. You can overcome it. Now you can get through it. You'll still drag it around with you for the rest of your life, but I think the main thing you need is someone to believe in you again. And that's going to have to be you right now, frankly.